He's young. He's smart. He's tough.
You're taking over Daisy's cellular deal. Big bonus if you win.
But on his way to the top,
Turn onto that road.
he took a little detour.
I don't think you'd shoot me. Okay. I'm just gonna walk to the nearest police station.
A little detour to the town of Buzzsaw, where life is simple,
Well, what's so complicated about a stolen car?
and so are the people.
See, I was hired originally part-time just to do some filing and light typing. Larry's here.
It's my first day.
It's his first day as deputy, you see. And we said that we would fill in until they got back, but nobody said that there would be a kidnap.
I haven't even been trained yet.
It's been great.
It's a town where all men are brothers.
Name's Jim. This here's my brother. His name's Jim, too. We were named after different people, though.
It's a story about men who want too much.
I want $150,000!
And the women who love them.
Stop looking at me like that. You're making me feel funny.
Stay.
Oh, we were just talking.
What's with this town? Is there something in the water?
Everybody shut up!
Okay, kids, quiet down. Your father's angry.
It's about family values.
Is this your son?
Yeah.
It's a dangerous romance.
I'm falling!
I got you.
It's a little far out.
Jim! Is that me or you?
Out on a limb. Matthew Broderick.
Hello?
Out on a limb.
Okay, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I never even knew this movie even existed until I saw it in a compilation of commercials from 1992 about a few months ago on YouTube. And, I'm starting to see why, because nothing about this movie makes any goddamn sense whatsoever. I mean, I guess it's kind of like Doc Hollywood or something like that, but Doc Hollywood was at least funny. None of what I see in this movie looks funny whatsoever. None of it makes any sense. Why would Matthew Broderick's character fall in love with this woman who literally tried to steal from him? It's like the people who made this movie saw Northern Exposure was a big hit. It was one of the big hits of the early 90s on television, and said, let's make a movie like this, except take everything that makes Northern Exposure funny and it's such a good show, and just make it completely stupid. That's what I get when I look at this trailer for this movie, and considering that nobody ever talks about this movie, I don't even think it has a DVD release for it. I think it's only been released on video. I could see why, because this movie looks absolutely horrible. This movie looks like it's wasting some pretty good talent. Matthew Broderick, Jeffrey Jones, John C. Reilly's in this. Larry Hankin from Seinfeld when he was the other Kramer. There's a good cast in this movie, but just nothing about this movie seems to make any sense or is even anywhere close to being funny. I mean, it just looks really terrible. This looks like a movie that would easily be on anybody's worst of the year list for the year in '92, and I can honestly see why, because nothing about this movie makes any sense. Nothing about this movie looks funny. Nothing about this movie looks anything interesting whatsoever. I could kind of see why this movie has been largely forgotten, because chances are it's probably not that good on any level, shape, or form. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you on this one here. Out on a Limb looks pretty terrible, so I'm never going to see it. So, let's go ahead and talk about the other movie that came out this weekend, which I have seen. It looks a lot better. It's a much better movie than anything that came out of this movie, Out on a Limb. It's, Tim Robbins, I almost said Sean Penn for a second there. Tim Robbins in the satirical political comedy Bob Roberts.
America is a mess. We need someone to clean it up. And his name is Bob. Bob Roberts, millionaire businessman, fencing enthusiast, recording artist, and senatorial candidate.
Here was a man that not only had a brilliant mind and a wonderful wit, but could also sing. This land is my life.
of our country and a great vision for the future of the children of our country.
Hey, mister, can I see your gun?
He's amazing. He's a toy and a genius.
Ladies and gentlemen, why can't you get ahead?
She's a beautiful girl.
Why can't you have the home of your dreams?
Miss 3 Mile Island.
Wall Street rap. Like a alone from a Midwestern.
The 60s are over, said Roberts.
I couldn't agree more, Donna.
I'm sorry, but I wouldn't vote for you. My life depended on it.
Are you a communist?
Excuse me?
Paramount Pictures presents with Miramax Films, Bob Roberts, a man with a solution.
Choice to be what you want to be. And I want to be rich. That's what politics is really about.
Make your judgments if you must. Bob Roberts. Because Bob spelled backwards is still Bob.
I just wish there was a way I could vote for you 100 times.
Oh, there is, actually.
Really?
Yes. Just kidding.
So I don't think anybody really knows this, but this is actually based off of a sketch that was done on Saturday Night Live. It was a one-time sketch that Tim Robbins did when he hosted SNL back in December of '86, so 6 years before this movie came out. He did a character on there, and I guess he found something to work with it and decided to make a movie out of it. He also directed this movie. There's also Giancarlo Esposito from Breaking Bad. Alan Rickman's also in this movie. Ray Wise, Brian Murray. Basically, this is a mock documentary about an upstart candidate for the U.S. Senate. If you've ever seen Tanner 88, that mini-series with Michael Murphy, who was playing a fake candidate who was trying to secure the Democratic Party nomination for President of the United States in 1988, it's very much that same type of thing. You got a movie there where you have all these real political figures at the time: Bruce Babbitt, Kitty Dukakis, Bob Dole, Gary Hart, Jesse Jackson, Pat Robertson in this, and it's a really good miniseries. If you've never seen Tanner 88, I'd say definitely check it out. It's written by Gary Trudeau, the creator of Doonesbury, directed by Robert Altman. It's very good. It's very funny, very satirical, great acting by Michael Murphy as Tanner. It's definitely one you should check out at some point, and I can say a lot of the things about that movie, about that, and put it into Bob Roberts, because really, it is very much like that. The acting here is very good. Tim Robbins does a great job playing the lead character. He shows off his impressive capabilities as both a writer and director as well, which he would later show a couple years later in Dead Man Walking. The cast overall is very good. You not only have Esposito, Rickman, and Wise here, but you also have Gore Vidal, Harry Lennox, Tom Atkins, David Strathairn, James Spader, Pamela Reed, Helen Hunt, Peter Gallagher, Lynn Thigpen, Jack Black, Anita Gillette, Susan Sarandon, Fred Ward, Fisher Stevens, Bob Balaban, John Cusack. Just a strong cast overall in this movie. The comedy is very strong. The satirical elements are very well done, and the story is written in a smart satirical fashion that puts it above most of the political comedies of the time period. And in a way, it actually did kind of become a precursor to what eventually happened 24 years later, because you have the story of a guy who is known for his entertainment capabilities, and then he eventually becomes a strong political figure. Certainly not to the levels of that person in particular, which I shall not name, but very similar elements there. This is a very funny, very clever, very satirical, very well acted, very smart political comedy that they have here, benefiting from a great script and direction. He knew exactly what kind of a story he wanted to tell and managed to do the best damn job he could possibly do with this and accomplished everything he wanted to say with it. It really is one of the great political satirical films that I don't think a lot of people really talk about, but it's definitely worth it. It's very fun. It's very good, very solid. If you haven't seen this movie, please by all means check it out. Great film, and for Tim Robbins, this is another good movie that came out in '92, because we already talked about The Player, which coincidentally was also directed by Robert Altman, which I think was one of the best movies of the year, and this is definitely another movie that was one of the strongest movies to come out of '92. If you haven't seen Bob Roberts, please by all means check it out. You will not be disappointed.
This LTX-71 concealable mic is part of the same system that NASA used when they faked the Apollo moon landings. Worked for them, shouldn't give us too many problems. They break and enter.
How we doing? Car's in position on the fire escape. Mother's in the cable vault.
Preparing to sever master circuit.
But they're not thieves. We're getting too old for this.
They know your secrets. But they're not spies.
He's got to be there somewhere. What's he doing?
Mr. Bishop, do you mind if I take a look?
Carl, grow up.
I give you something to work, baby.
So people hire you to break into their places to make sure no one can break into their places?
It's a living.
Not a very good one.
Now they've got a new client.
National Security Agency.
I don't work for the government.
Relax, Marty. It's just everybody on your team has had some sort of problem in their past.
Now what do you say? The NSA killed Kennedy?
No, they shot him, but they didn't kill him. He's still alive. They may not want the job,
Liz, I need your help.
I will not be dragged back into your world.
but they don't have a choice.
We don't want to bust you. We want to hire you. We're the good guys, Marty.
Can't tell you what a relief that is, Dick. Your job is to find that little black box. You got it.
Holy cow. What the hell is this?
There's a war out there, old friend. A world war.
Oh my God.
How is this possible?
It's not about who's got the most bullets. It's about who controls the information.
Anybody want to shut down the Federal Reserve?
Hey, don't screw around with that thing. It's all about the information.
So it's a code breaker.
No, it's the code breaker.
Battle stations. Do you have the item?
Can you guarantee my safety?
Where is the item?
Can you guarantee my safety?
I think you've got trouble.
Here, maybe this might help. An old buddy of mine was in Desert Storm, sent it to me. Of course, he was on the other side.
Now give me the box, Marty!
I'm an excellent marksman, woman.
I'm Carl.
There's a fire escape at the end of the north corridor. Go directly north, about 30 yards.
5 seconds. Hang up, fish. Hang up. They've almost got us.
Overall, Sneakers doesn't really do anything new to the heist movie genre, like something like what Steven Soderbergh would later do with the Ocean's 11 movies. But I actually do kind of prefer this movie a little bit more than Field of Dreams, even though I really like Field of Dreams. I actually like this movie a little bit more, mostly because of the way the cast works off each other. A great cast overall, as you see there: Robert Redford, Dan Aykroyd, Ben Kingsley, Mary McDonnell, River Phoenix, Sidney Poitier, David Strathairn. Also in there you have Stephen Todorowsky, Tim Busfield, George Hearn, Donna Logue, James Earl Jones is in this movie, and they're just having a really good time here. There's a good mix of thriller aspects, action aspects, comedy aspects, all these different genres coming together for a pretty solid and very entertaining movie. I really enjoyed this movie a whole lot, and I do like the heists that they go on. I like the way that they work off each other, and it's just a ton of fun overall. There's just so much you can admire about this particular movie that really you wouldn't be able to guess just by looking at that trailer alone. There is a lot more fun aspects to it. It's an overall fun movie. It's one that I go back to very often because it's one that I really do enjoy. It's a really fun movie. If you haven't seen Sneakers, I'd say definitely check it out. So that's Sneakers. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie that we have here, and that is Clive Barker's Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth.
In Hellraiser 1, Clive Barker showed you his vision of a private hell. In Hellraiser 2, he took you on a journey inside the Inferno. Now, the terror returns in mankind's final confrontation with evil. And this time, it's going to be hell on Earth.
Great club. I really love it here. It's a great club.
Jesus Christ. Not quite. Just give me the box. Ready for your close-up?
free hell on Earth.
Coincidentally enough, at the time that I'm talking about this movie, we just had Hulu's Hellraiser reboot come out recently on there, and I saw a little bit of it. I'm pretty impressed with what they did to take that series to another level. But as far as this movie goes, this was not very good. I feel like with this movie, they were trying to make Pinhead kind of the next Freddy Krueger, give him more comedic jokes, and just some really lousy-looking visual effects, especially for 1992 standards. Like, you look at this movie, and you see their attempts to try to entertain people, and the movie was heavily criticized for being a little too commercial compared to the other two movies, but, I mean, Hellraiser 2 was just not a very good movie, and the first Hellraiser was a fun movie overall, but, yeah, with this movie, I feel like they were trying way too hard to try to make Pinhead the next Freddy Krueger, and you could definitely see that they were trying way too hard to do just that. And sadly, the series just kept getting worse and worse after that, because they would do one more movie for theaters, and then every other movie that came after that was either direct-to-video or direct-to-DVD, and they just got worse and worse and worse until the very latest one that just came out on Hulu. So, yeah, and even though Clive Barker's on here, he's really not doing too much. He's the executive producer, but he was largely uninvolved with the film until they went to post-production. But I don't think even then he had a whole lot to work with, because I really don't think he would have liked what they've done to this character that he's made. It's just not a very fun movie. I mean, it's a movie that's really, really not that fun whatsoever. It's not that scary. It's not that funny. The visual effects are really terrible in this one. It's just a bad movie overall. It's just one that's kind of like, there could have been so much more on it, but it's at least better than Hellraiser 2, but that's not saying a whole lot compared to what Hellraiser 2 was. So, yeah, that's Hell on Earth. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Matthew Modine and Jennifer Grey in Wind.
You've been dreaming about doing this since you were a little kid.
It's the kind of something that makes you believe that everything's unimpossible.
You know what she dreams about? Flying bugs.
This better work, Will Parker. Otherwise, I will never forgive you.
What do your numbers tell you about a world that's totally wild and unpredictable?
You're getting in waters deeper than you think.
This is the ultimate all-American endeavor.
You become the best only by going against the best. From Carol Ballard.
We're not gonna make it!
Director of The Black Stallion.
We've got the room and we're taking it!
And Never Cry Wolf.
Go for it right now!
Yeah, I don't know if there's a way to make yacht racing very intense or exciting to watch in its own movie. I mean, this is a movie that tries its best to do so. Some decent talent on board here. Carol Ballard, of course, is the person that made Black Cauldron and Never Cry Wolf, but even then, I don't think there's enough here to really make for an overall exciting movie. It's really kind of boring when you really watch it, because I watched this on many years ago. I say many years ago, maybe like 12 years ago. The Weather Channel used to have this thing on Friday nights called Weather in a Movie, where they would show different weather-oriented movies. You'd get something like Volcano, or The Day After Tomorrow, or Twister, or another wind movie with Jeff Bridges. Now I can't remember what it was. White Squall was what I was thinking of. And then you'd have this movie, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there was any way to make yacht racing all that exciting, unless you're a really good director. And Carol Ballard's not a bad director. I just think you need a really good script to work off it, and you really need to not make it like it is in this movie, because it's both an action-adventure movie, but it's also kind of this romantic drama as well, which doesn't really mesh together well. At least in this particular case, it doesn't really mesh together all that well. It's not really all that exciting. There's nothing really all that amazing about the visuals that they have in here. It's just kind of a boring movie overall. It's a movie that I think tries way too hard, and at the same time doesn't really try hard enough to make it stand out on its own. It's a movie that's just kind of like, it's here, and there's really nothing there to it. So that's basically all I have to say about Wind. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie here, and it's a re-release of a classic Ridley Scott movie, and that is Blade Runner: The Final Cut. Or at least according to Box Office Mojo, it's the final cut. But the actual final cut actually came out 15 years later in 2007. This particular version is actually the 6th different version of Blade Runner that has been created. There was a work print version in '82, was shown at a couple of test audiences in Denver and Dallas in March, and then it was later shown again about 8 years later in Los Angeles and San Francisco as the original director's cut without Ridley Scott's approval. There was a version that was in San Diego that was completely different. The theatrical version includes the happy ending and the addition of the Harrison Ford voiceover. The international cut was later released on Criterion in 1982. There's a CBS version that was on TV in 1986. And now we have this version in 1992, which was approved by Ridley Scott and was mostly prompted by the use of the 1990 and 91 theatrical reprints of the work print version. This one contains significant changes from the theatrical work print version, including some extensive notes, consultations to Warner Brothers by Scott, and basically just really took his own different version of the film. And there was a lot of major changes to the film. Like there's the removal of Deckard's voiceovers. There's an insertion of a dream sequence of a unicorn running through a forest at the 42-minute mark. They got rid of the studio-imposed happy ending and included some assorted visuals, which originally ran under the film's end credits. In this version of the film, when the elevator doors close, as Deckard and Rachel leave. And in a way, it does help the movie because this is one of the better versions of the film. I mean, Blade Runner in and of itself is a classic movie, and it still holds up as a pivotal, groundbreaking science fiction classic for the time period. And when you look at it today, it still holds up on so many levels. But the version I think that still holds up the best is the last version that came out, the 2007 version. I feel like that's the version that Ridley Scott wanted to make all along. I don't know why he didn't get to do it with this original cut here, but when you look at this cut, it's a step in the right direction. It was a step in the right direction for what they wanted to do later on down the road. And of course, Blade Runner, led to the strong following that it still has, that it spawned its own sequel, Blade Runner 2049, which was a pretty solid movie from Denis Villeneuve, the director of Dune. And that's pretty much all I got. I mean, I really don't need to say any more about Blade Runner as it is, because it is such a good movie overall. Everyone's already talked about it. There's nothing really more to say about it, honestly. But Blade Runner's a classic. The original cut from '92 is good. The final cut's better. Avoid any version after that. That's pretty much all I got for you on that one. So that's Blade Runner. On to the next movie, and that is Crossing the Bridge.
Wake up, Mort. Let's go, pal. Mudball time. Mudball?
Take him out and beat him
In everyone's life, there comes a time when you have to make a choice.
Some people didn't have sex during high school, okay? I know that could come as a big shock to you, all right? Besides, you name one.
A time to cross that bridge into an unknown future.
I have no interest in going to college, okay? None.
My time came in the spring of 1975, when I had to decide whether to start a career.
You're firing me? I overslept.
It's 4:30 in the afternoon.
Settle down.
Forget about it, Mort. She dumped you.
Or maybe try something completely different.
You always say that you want to do something. Well, here's something to do.
Danny, you're talking about smuggling across the U.S. border. So how much money will we make?
You in or not?
So as the trailer indicates, this takes place in 1975. You have these three friends who drive into Canada as couriers on a drug deal. When they return to the United States at the Ambassador's Bridge, they face possible capture by authorities. And that's pretty much all I got for you, because I've never seen this movie. Nor do I really want to after watching this trailer. I watched this trailer all the way through, and I thought to myself, I could pretty much predict everything that's going to happen at this point, and there's nothing really here to suggest that anything new or exciting is going to come from this. And quite honestly, from what I've heard about it from critical reviews, it's pretty much what I thought it was going to be. The acting doesn't look too bad. Jason Gedrick, Josh Charles, Stephen Baldwin. You also have Jeffrey Tambor, David Schwimmer, Abraham Ben-Ruby, Ken Jenkins in here. And this is directed by Mike Binder, who would later go on to do some much better movies, including The Upside of Anger, Reign Over Me. He would also do some lesser stuff like Indian Summer and Blank Man, just to name a few. So, that's pretty much all I got for you on this one. I haven't seen it, I can't really comment on it. In fact, these last couple movies I haven't really seen, so I can't really comment on them too much. So we'll get through all these ones real quick. So, let's go to the next one, and that is Where the Day Takes You.
Most kids come out to LA looking for Hollywood. Usually it's not what they expect.
How old are you?
20, might be 21, I'm not exactly sure.
How long have you been on the street?
6, 7 years. You want to be a movie star, don't you?
No.
Yeah, you do.
Back off!
Your stepmom and I want to talk to you downstairs.
Frank, you're under arrest for grand theft. Are you still not going to jewelry?
You want to tell me something? What happened? All I did was hit this teacher after she tried to hit me.
They were on their own.
Excuse me, can you spare some change, penny, anything?
They had no home.
Take my sleeping bag. It's going to be real cold.
Thanks.
There were no rules.
You're stronger than here.
But only one of them knew how tough it can really get.
I see people on the street every day, and I just see myself. I don't want to see that happen to you.
It won't happen to me. It won't happen to us.
So the story basically here is that you have these teenage runaways trying to survive the streets of Los Angeles. And another movie that has a really good cast overall. Sean Astin's in there, Laura Flynn Boyle, Balthazar Getty, Ricky Lake, James LaGrosse, Dermot Mulroney, Larson Giacomo, Christian Slater's in here. Most notably, Will Smith makes his feature film debut in this after he had already been on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air for a couple of years. And, I don't know, judging by the look of this trailer, I get like a sense of trying to do something similar to a Boys in the Hood type of movie, or a movie where you have the main focus being these teenage kids just trying to survive the dangers of this part of California. But yeah, like I said, I haven't seen it, can't really comment on it too much, but I mean, it doesn't look that bad. It actually has some pretty good reviews to it, so it might be one I might check out one day, but I'm not going to rush out to see it at this point. So that's my thoughts on Where the Day Takes You, just from that trailer. On to the next movie, and that is Brother's Keeper.
This is not a commercial. I don't make them. I've never made commercials. It's just a talk, I hope an enthusiastic talk, about a fantastic film that I was lucky enough to see at the Sundance Film Festival last year in Park Slope, Utah. The film is called Brother's Keeper. And I saw it in the daytime, late morning, and I remember my bladder was rather full at the time. I'd had a lot of water and coffee in the morning, and often when I'm working, I usually work in the morning, I'm always running off to the toilet, and I couldn't go. I couldn't leave the movie theater watching this film. It was so gripping. I could never find a spot. I kept saying, I'll go in a minute, and I was about ready to explode. I was in pain. It's a documentary film of the quality I've never seen before. It's more like a dramatic narrative. And unlike many documentaries, which are often done about some past event, and so they're documenting something that has happened, this is really a film that is a discovery following these three fantastic out-of-this-world, other-world brothers that live in this collapsed old farmhouse, from 1860. It's like you enter into another world in this film. Not only is their story gripping, but the entire trial, which you'll see if you see the film, the courtroom trial, it turns out to be like a narrative film.
So in the movie, you basically have a documentary about two groups of societies, people from rural areas and those from larger cities. It shows how the media flocks to the town to cover the story about an alleged 1990 murder in the village of Munnsville, New York. The film displays two complete opposite views of the Ward brothers, who are the people involved in this particular situation. On one situation, you have the locals who defend the Ward brothers as simple country folk. The other is that the press stereotypes these brothers as poor, uneducated hill people. The Ward sister was not featured in this movie because of her death in the 1980s. However, her daughter, Pat, makes an appearance in the DVD special features, and everybody in here has passed away since then. Delbert Ward passed away in 98, about 6 years after this movie came out, and then both Roscoe and Lyman died in 2007, around the same time period. So, that's pretty much all I know about this movie in particular, but it does sound very interesting. This sounds like a very interesting story that makes you kind of decide which side do you want to take on this situation, and I don't know how exactly the movie plays it out, but it's definitely one that I might want to check out at one point. Most notably, Joe Berlinger, he directed Blair Witch 2 Book of Shadows later on down the road, which I think was his only scripted project, but I know that he's one of the co-directors on here, so that's something. But other than that, I don't really know anything too much more about this because I haven't seen it, so can't really comment on it, but that's Brother's Keeper for you. So let's go ahead and move on to the last movie that we have here, and that is A Fine Romance.
Julie Andrews and Marcello Mastroianni have one thing in common.
Are you alone?
Her husband is having an affair with his wife.
I don't know about you, but I want my husband back. I don't want a divorce.
And together, they devise a plan to win back their spouses.
I knew you'd come up with something.
Marguerite!
I hoped I would meet a man of action, not a marshmallow soaked in whiskey.
But what they didn't plan on
Are you jealous?
Am I what?
Yes.
Am I what?
You fascinating. Yes, you.
is falling in love.
Oh!
I don't know why I said it like that. I mean, maybe it's because I'm thinking of there was a show that they did on ABC, and you're listening to the announcer on there, Ernie Anderson, talking about this show that's literally titled A Fine Romance, and he's just like, A Fine Romance. That's probably what I was thinking about when I was saying it like that. But A Fine Romance, Julie Andrews, Marcello Mastroianni, you've got an Italian gentleman and a doctor's wife who meet in Paris, and they find out their spouses are cheating on each other, and so they try to break them apart, and they end up falling in love with each other. And this is this just sounds like a movie that's that would be an NBC movie of the week. Like you would see this on Monday night or Sunday night on one of the big networks. You got two big stars in here, Julie Andrews and Marcello Mastroianni, and it doesn't look like anything really that would feel like something that'd be made for theaters, except for the fact that the director of this is also the same man that directed Barefoot in the Park and The Odd Couple and Cactus Flower back in the 1960s. But other than that, though, this doesn't look like a movie that's really all that exciting. Like I said, it feels like a NBC movie of the week, like a movie you'd see on one of the big networks as like a marquee world premiere movie. It doesn't feel like something that's meant for the big screen. So, that's all I got for you on that one. That's A Fine Romance.
Isn't this great? Open ocean, uncharted islands. Who knows what's waiting for us out there?
The mighty Caribbean, home of romance, adventure, and living legends like Captain Ron.
This here the Harvey Bug?
A man of courage and dedication, to whom the sea is more than a job, more than a calling. It's home.
Are you kidding?
Now, he's about to cast his very special spell on the Harveys.
Sucks.
I have worked
very, very hard to plan a spontaneous adventure, and Captain Goofy, hey boss, Captain Cyclops, Captain's Contagious over there is screwing it up.
You know, there's gorillas in these woods.
No gorillas, not here, no way. He said gorilla, not gorilla.
Huge difference.
Whoa, Dad's losing it.
Captain Ron, Captain Ron. May I have the camera, please?
Captain Ron doesn't mean a thing to me.
I am not jealous.
Captain Ron is teaching them the laws of the sea.
Hey, get your hands off that. You want a beer, you get your own beer.
Taking them to places they never dreamed of.
Martin, we're in Cuba?
Back to the raft! Back to the raft!
And he's turning these 4 sailors into one big, happy family.
I never seen such sailors. Not in all my born days, I ain't. Every one of you is natural.
The Pirates of the Caribbean!
What pirates?
Kurt Russell,
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Martin Short,
Been to Disney World one too many times, have we, Captain Ron?
Captain Ron.
Dad!
Captain Ron, could you come out, please? Captain Ron?
Do you still need a reminder that this movie is called Captain Ron? Because I don't know how many more times that Martin Short has to keep saying Captain Ron to let you know that this movie is called Captain Ron. I mean, I swear to God, if you play a drinking game with how many times he says it in this trailer, along with the movie alone, you'll be drunk, plastered by the end of this movie, because he says it a lot in this movie, and honestly, I think that's one of the reasons why this movie doesn't work out so well. The concept isn't too bad here. I mean, Kurt Russell playing the title character, Captain Ron, it's actually a pretty fun role for him. I think it's one of the few things in this movie that actually still holds out pretty well. But honestly, I think the roles in this could have been switched out. Like, Martin Short could have been the comedic portrayal in this, and Kurt Russell could have been the serious one in this, and maybe it could have worked into a much better movie. But as it is, I think the only thing that really sticks with this movie is Kurt Russell in here. I think he's having a ton of fun playing with this role, and he has some of the funnier lines in the movie. As far as the rest of the movie goes, it is pretty forgettable. I mean, Martin Short, he's really obnoxious in this movie, and like I said, one of the reasons why is because he just has to be, he's not even playing a character, he's just playing kind of a stereotype of a character. Is like if your biggest bit of comedy is saying the name of the title of this movie multiple times, it's not really a good character trait whatsoever. I mean, even if you look at this poster here, he doesn't even look like he's legitimately a part of this movie. It feels like they plastered him in here. I'll show you what I mean. Seriously, look at this and tell me that Martin Short is part of that picture right there. It does not look like he's a part of that picture. I think they just took a clip from the movie and just put him there with the rest of the cast. And actually, when I really look at this more, it doesn't even look like the entire cast of this movie is really all there. I think it does look like they took random pictures and shots from the movie and just put them together on this one poster. I don't know, maybe that's the first time they ever do that, because really, when you look at it, that's kind of how they do most movie posters nowadays. They just put all the people in the cast on the poster and make it look, don't even attempt to make it look like they're all together in one shot. I mean, that is pretty much how it is, and maybe that was one of the first ones that actually did it, but, yeah, like I said before, this movie really is not all that good. The only reason I would say watch it is because of Kurt Russell in this, but other than that, though, it's not a very good movie. It's not really all that funny. It's not really all that exciting. It is a pretty forgettable movie, so that's Captain Ron for you. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie that we have here, and that is Cameron Crowe's Singles.
Love is a game. You distinguish yourself by not calling her.
4 days, he used to call me.
Easy to start.
It's a very nice hat you're wearing, and I don't mean that in any Haskell kind of way.
Hard to finish.
Linda,
Bye, Steve.
I left my blue t-shirt at home.
If you can't find love, you settle for sex.
I'm on the bed right now. I'm wearing something really outrageous.
I think you got the wrong number, lady, but I'll be right over.
In the absence of sex, you go for companionship.
You want to get some dinner? How about some lunch? Have lunch. Coffee? Water? How about some water?
Soon you're just happy to have a friend.
In a parallel universe, we're probably a scorching couple.
But in this one, neighbors.
Of course, you can't sleep with friends. Signals.
You know, I see other people still.
You don't fool me.
Bridget Fonda,
we made the connection. And when you make the connection, it's like chemistry takes care of itself. I mean, it makes its own decisions, you know?
Campbell Scott. I was just nowhere near your neighborhood.
Kira Sedgwick.
Did I overreact? Do you know who this is?
Sheila Kelly.
Could you see me next to a single guy? I've got a special feeling about you.
Jim True. And Matt Dillon.
Janet, you rock my world.
Singles.
If I make this basket, that's fate telling me to call him. Wait, did no basket mean call him or don't call him? Never mind.
Directed by Cameron Crowe.
This is, of course, Crowe's follow-up to Say Anything, which honestly is a much better movie than this particular film, but the movie isn't terrible by any means. In fact, it is an overall very enjoyable movie. It is very much early 1990s. I mean, you have movies like this, and then you also had Reality Bites, Empire Records, just movies like this where you have these Gen Xers and these misadventures that they go through over the course of the movie, and overall, it is a very good movie. This is a very strong cast they have here. Bridget Fonda, Campbell Scott, Kira Sedgwick, Sheila Kelly, Matt Dillon, Bill Pullman, Ali Walker, Jeremy Piven, Eric Stoltz, Tom Skerritt. Just a lot of good people in this movie, and there are a lot of very funny moments in here, and you do buy the relationships that all these people have in here. It is a very good film overall. It's a little too formulaic for some parts of it, but nothing to the point where it ruins the movie overall. It is still a very enjoyable movie, and like I said, it's not as good as Say Anything, but it does show that it's still one of Cameron Crowe's overall. I mean, overall, when I really think about it, Cameron Crowe made a lot of good movies. Because I think his worst films came later on down the road with stuff like We Bought a Zoo or Aloha, but these first couple movies overall were really solid films, and this is definitely a very solid film. Probably the most underrated of the early films that he did. If you haven't seen Singles, definitely check it out. You might get taken back to 1992 with it, and it is still a very good movie that still kind of holds up almost 30 years later. Well, 30 years later, I should say, but you get what I'm talking about here. With that said, on to the next movie, and that is Woody Allen's Husbands and Wives.
Before we go out to dinner, we want to tell you something. Oh, Jack and I are splitting up.
Don't make a big deal out of it, okay? Because we're both fine.
We're okay. No, yeah, we're fine. We're
How
fine.
can you get it, break up? That's insane. You're Jack and Sally. You got 2 kids.
So Jack never gave you an inkling, huh?
No.
How did you meet someone so fast? Well, I used to eat red meat every day, and then I gave it up, and then I had some again recently, and I was totally bloated.
I can't get my mind around this. This is what you leave Sally for? It's like your IQ is suddenly in remission.
Please.
You know?
Are you ever attracted to other women?
So how do you manage to write something so deep? Is your whole family stormy and tempestuous? Or...
Oh, God, I'm blushing, right?
I thought it was an experiment. I didn't think it was final. I didn't realize you were having an affair.
Listen, if you're having some kind of personal thing...
Really? I'm okay.
I don't really think I can do this. I'm feeling upset.
What are you upset about?
I saw Sally the other night. She's dating some guy.
So what's the deal? Are they seeing one another? Oh.
What's the rush?
Don't tell me you don't flirt, because I've seen you do it.
I sometimes think of living in Paris.
Like moving to Europe. That's just a flirting technique. You couldn't survive off the island of Manhattan for more than 48 hours.
Who's this? Who's this?
This is my husband. It's none of your business.
None of
Please
my
leave
business.
right now.
I don't want to leave.
Leave right now.
Am I all right? All right. What the hell? Who are you? Is he living here?
I do love the way you write. I had some criticisms, but overall...
You told me you told me it was a great book.
Yeah, it's wonderful, and I never said great.
My sixth sense said that you were not stable, but you on the surface you were. But now that we're having all kinds of problems, you're not stable. You were on the surface, but not really. This whole thing is becoming very clear to me.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a Woody Allen movie, alright. Interesting note here, this was actually the first Woody Allen movie that was not released by United Artists or Orion Pictures since 1969, but that was of course because Orion Pictures was falling into bankruptcy and United Artists had already been pushed into MGM at the time. But also of note here, this actually was released in theaters shortly after Woody Allen and Mia Farrow's romantic and professional partnership came to an end, and this was the last of the 13 films they did together. And kind of fits the overall feel of the movie. I mean, if you like Woody Allen movies, if you like the style and the bits of the comedy, the dramatic elements to it, it's all here, and it's still pretty good for the most part. This is definitely a huge step up compared to Shadows and Fog that we looked at earlier in the year, which was a huge misfire, but great cast: Woody Allen, Blythe Danner, Judy Davis, Mia Farrow, Juliette Lewis, Liam Neeson, Sidney Pollack. Just a great cast overall. The relationships are very well written. It's just it's just a very good film overall. And like I said, if you like Woody Allen at his prime, this is definitely right up your alley. It's a very good film. It's maybe one of his most underrated films because it didn't do so well at the box office at the time, but still a pretty good movie overall. Like I said, if you like Woody Allen, you're definitely going to enjoy this movie. I like Woody Allen movies. This is definitely right up my alley. So that's Husbands and Wives. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is School Ties.
From the very first, David Green knew how to fit in.
He does have an arm. I can't help wondering if we've done the right thing. Break nearly 2 centuries of tradition just to beat St. Luke's.
Girls eat your hearts out.
Never mess with my hair. We judge ourselves here by the highest standards.
Gentlemen, we all have to live here. We're not going to bring the jungle into my house. I envy you. You don't have to live up to anybody else's expectations. You are who you are.
But their acceptance of him.
So different from the other boys. You know everything about them in 2 minutes. But you...
4 minutes, easy.
And their feelings for him.
I think you're so pretty.
I think you're pretty too.
Thanks for taking care of my girl.
I'm not your girl.
May not survive
Who is it?
the truth about him.
Why wouldn't St. Luke's have taken her? They wouldn't have enrolled a Jew. A Jew? Not even for a championship.
People are very determined, aren't you?
Sometimes we have to be, sir. It turns out our golden boy here is a lying, backstabbing Jew. Well, why didn't you just tell me in the first place?
You guys were my friends. I didn't want to be told that I couldn't be a part of it because I was a Jew.
Excuse me, can't you move any faster, please? Step outside. I'll show you how fast. David, come on!
I seem to recall a blessing. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth.
I wonder how meek they'll be when they do, sir.
You lied to me.
I lied to myself. Maybe we should just go to the head and tell him we can't handle this ourselves. Let's just do it. You get that! Deny it!
School Ties.
It's weird. I feel like this movie doesn't get the attention that I think it deserves, but at the same time, it has had a legacy to it because you've seen a lot of this movie being parodied in, specifically Family Guy did a joke with School Ties with Brian as Brendan Fraser's character screaming "coward" at the dormitory. But other than that, though, not a lot of people really talk about this movie. But really, I kind of feel like they do because this is actually a really damn good movie. I was watching this movie, really thinking to myself, okay, this movie it doesn't have that good of a legacy to it, even though I've seen it a couple times in parody, but maybe it's something where it's just like, it has just those few elements that actually that work, but the rest of it's kind of mediocre. Overall, the movie is really damn good, and it's mostly because of the great performances that they have in here. I mean, Brendan Fraser alone in this movie is more than worth it to watch him really putting his all into this movie. I'm really surprised that he didn't get some kind of awards consideration for this because he really sells this movie, and he does a fantastic job here. You also have Chris O'Donnell in here, Matt Damon in one of his early film roles. You also have Cole Hauser, Amy Long Crane, Zelko Ivanek, Anthony Rapp, Ben Affleck in one of his early film roles. And it's a nicely shot movie, too. The cinematography by Freddie Francis is very well done. Got some great music by Maurice Jarre. The script was co-written by Dick Wolf of Law and Order fame. I mean, they got a really good talent all over this movie, and it shows in the final product. This movie really, I think, is a very underrated film. If you haven't seen this movie, please go check out School Ties. You will not be disappointed by it. It's really a very surprising and very effective film, mostly because of the great performances, including Brendan Fraser in the leading role. It's a fantastic film. I can't recommend it enough. School Ties, definitely check it out. So, on that note, let's go ahead and move on to the next movie that we have here, and that is Oliver Stone's production, South Central.
This is the story of a father and son.
Don't go soft on me, man. Now, I know you got a kid and all, but you still deuce, ain't you?
It's a story of loyalty divided between violence and love, between death
Bobby, you didn't.
and life.
Look, you give me some names. Give them to me right now, and I'll cut you a soft deal.
Your boy?
Yeah.
How old?
Well, he's 3 in that picture. Well, he was 10.
So where were you? Boy's daddy.
I was in here.
That man is in prison or dodging prison, and his kids suffer.
You saying it was my fault he got shot?
Me and you. We're brothers, and we got to be there for our children. Go find your boy. Save his life.
Takes my life, I'll do it.
I am somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody. Respect me.
Come on, man. Yeah, you guys know Jimmy Johnson before.
Protect me.
Right here, cuz.
Never neglect me.
And the Kelly's his mama now, and Deuce is his daddy.
Let him go now. I am somebody. Nobody will save us for us but us.
All I want is my boy. I'm your daddy, Jimmy.
South Central. Something's got to change.
I feel like we just saw the entire movie there. I mean, I haven't seen this movie. I can't really comment on it too much, but that trailer definitely looks like something where you see the entire movie overall. But then again, maybe that's not the case, because like I said, I haven't seen the film. I can't really comment on it too much, but I mean, it doesn't look bad whatsoever. In fact, from all the stuff I've seen, it's gotten a lot of critical acclaim. And when this movie came out, this director, Steven Anderson, was up there with Quentin Tarantino's Tim Robbins as some of the best new filmmakers in Hollywood. But unfortunately, I don't think he ever did anything of note after this movie. He made a couple of other films, Dead Man Can't Dance, and then Cash in 2010. That was the last movie he directed. But other than that, though, I haven't seen anything else that this guy has done. Like I said, the movie doesn't look too bad. The performances overall look pretty good. Glenn Plummer is in this. You've seen him on ER. And like I said, it's produced by Oliver Stone. And like I said, it doesn't look too bad. It does look like a movie that kind of got overshadowed by a lot of the other movies of this type at the time period. Like stuff like Boys in the Hood, Juice, and then Menace to Society. Just to name a couple of movies that came out in between this time period. But again, could actually be one of those underrated gems that not a lot of people really talk about. That trailer, I don't think, did a very good job of really making it stand out over some of the other movies, but you know, trailers can lie to you pretty easily, and maybe there's more to this movie than I would have thought there would have been, so I don't know, maybe I'll check it out one day, but as for right now, I'm just going by that trailer. Trailer didn't look that impressive, but I am curious to check it out, just on the acclaim that it got out alone, so that's South Central. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Whoopi Goldberg in Serafina.
Our nation was searching for truth and freedom.
The schools are your only chance. If you don't want education, do not come to school.
2 extraordinary women showed us the way.
She tells us the truth, and they love her because she's crazy.
History is so beautiful, it makes you cry.
Through music, she opened our eyes to life.
You will do all the work, and I go to sleep. Have we got it all worked out then? Yeah.
Through dance, she gave us hope for the future.
Everyone laughing and singing.
I like that.
And to a young girl named Serafina.
What do you want, mistress?
She opened her heart.
I want the war to be over.
What about the teachers?
I want the hate to be over.
Any rotten apples there?
I want to come home to kindness.
We have to support each other.
I want them to have a sense of pride in themselves.
You're playing with fire.
Through her inspiration, people
can defeat the armies.
They discovered the courage to change the world.
Freedom is coming tomorrow. Get ready, man, prepare for your freedom. Freedom is coming tomorrow.
Listen to these voices.
Academy Award winner Whoopi Goldberg and Lelity Khumalo as Sarafina, celebrating our freedom. Coming to screens June 15, 2006.
So kind of like with South Central, this is a movie that I haven't seen, but overall the trailer for it was not really all that impressive, but I've actually heard some decent things about this movie. I've seen some decent things from the reviews for this movie that I've seen on Rotten Tomatoes, but this is one of those interesting movies. Like, it came out in '92. It came out around the time of the Rodney King, the LA riots due to what happened to Rodney King. And actually, Whoopi Goldberg, when she was on The Daily Show many years after this movie came out, she said that the movie was not successful because of that. Which I don't know if I want to say. I don't know if I want to say that's because of what it is. But the movie overall was a big success in South Africa. It's because I think what happened. You heard in the trailer of the date June 16, 2006, and I think it was because that was a re-release trailer that I got there. But I mean, the movie itself doesn't look that bad at all. In fact, it looks kind of interesting. Like, it's a different movie for Whoopi Goldberg to star in, and I haven't heard a lot of people really say anything about it, but it doesn't look like a bad movie overall. In fact, it looks like a very solid movie that, like with South Central, I'll definitely have to check out one day, because I am curious to see how this movie plays out. I mean, it looks something very different for Whoopi Goldberg to star in, and you also have John Caney, who was also in, later be seen in Captain America Civil War, and Black Panther, and also the Lion King remake that came out recently. So, yeah, it's a movie that I'll definitely check out one day. It's not something I'm going to rush out to see right away, but my interest is very piqued by what I'm seeing from this trailer, so that's what I'm definitely going to check out at some point, and probably with the last movie that we have here as well, which is Tim Roth in Jumping in the Boneyard.
You've been doing yourself for the last 20 years. You've done a lot of things. Like what? Come on, Nanny. You know what I've been doing. Your family now! To be honest with you, I'm having enough trouble as it is just hanging around from till morning.
You thought about getting him any help?
I thought maybe by coming back here I could shake him up a little. Look at that kid. Too sure it's working out though. What you looking for? I'm looking for nothing.
Alright, man, you don't want to do business with me, that's fine. Your boy here looks like he wants to do some business.
How's yourself? You still seeing that girl past you? No.
You don't come here without me knowing. You don't come and see him without me knowing.
Shut your mouth for a minute so I can say something.
Don't tell me to shut up.
Always make everything sound so easy. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying, if you want to do this, I can be there with you.
You believe in anything that fool ass tells you, don't you?
Just relax, right? I can't just run off with you and leave her not without telling her. Damn it, Daniel, if we're gonna do this, we gotta do it tonight.
You're gonna be all alone, Daddy. Nobody but you.
It's my daddy today. See.
This is one of those movies that I literally knew nothing about before I looked up on Box Office Mojo to see what it was, but it's another one of those movies that I'm very, very curious about. I mean, Tim Roth, one of his early film roles, and you also have this actor Alexis Arquette, who I've never heard of before, but I mean, he does look like he's given a good performance in here. Maybe the biggest surprise of all is Denitra Vance. If you haven't heard of that name before, she was on SNL in the mid 1980s. She's been in a couple of other movies. Some of them we talked about already, like Limit Up and War of the Roses and Little Man Tate. But looks like she's given a very different performance in this than the usual comedic performance that I've seen her in. It's very intriguing. You also see Samuel Jackson in there as well. I knew nothing about this movie until I looked up the stuff to look this movie up tonight. But I will say, my interest is definitely piqued in this movie because of what I'm seeing here. This looks like a pretty good movie overall. I don't know if this has actually been released on DVD before. Even if it has, it's probably one of those limited edition ones, like you go to Amazon and get a burn-on-demand disc or something, or you can find it on streaming. And I'm going to try to find it because I do really want to see this movie. It's kind of like with also South Central and Serafina. Maybe I'll do like a triple feature of these one day. But my interest is definitely piqued on this one. I know nothing about this movie, but my interest is definitely piqued. If anyone knows about this movie, please let me know in the comments below. So yeah, Jumping at the Boneyard. That's pretty much all I got for you on that one.
It's not as I imagined it would be, thinking of it in Boston.
Frontier is the only land available to people. Out here, they're beholden to none.
As a new land was being carved out of an untamed frontier.
Just dropped in to see how you boys is doing.
One man, defiantly courageous, stood his ground.
I thought all our colonial scouts were in the militia.
I ain't your scout. You sure ain't no damn militia.
One woman, fiercely independent, followed her spirit.
My father warned me about people like you. He said, do not try to understand them. Do not try to make them understand you.
Thank you so much.
They shared an adventure.
It was a war party. That means they're going to be attacking up and down the frontier.
That took them from the edge of the wilderness.
He saved us. We're alive only because of him. Are those the actions of a criminal?
And into each other's hearts.
Why didn't you think when you had the chance?
Because what I'm interested in is right here.
You've done everything you could do. Save yourself!
Stay alive, no matter what occurs. I will find you. No matter how long it takes, no matter how far, I will find you.
Academy Award winner Daniel Day-Lewis, Madeline Stowe, The Last of the Mohicans.
As I said, this is based off of the famous book, The Last of the Mohicans, a narrative of 1757 by James Fenimore Cooper, and it was actually previously adapted before as a 1936 movie, which is more to the film itself than the actual novel this remake is. And like I said, it's directed by Michael Mann, and usually Michael Mann makes very good movies, and this is definitely another one of his very good movies. I won't say it's his best movie overall, but it is definitely one of his stronger works. Daniel Day-Lewis gives yet another good performance in here. Madeline Stowe is very good in this movie. It's a great movie overall. Some great cinematography to this movie. Dante Spinotti did a very good job with the cinematography on this. You've got a score by Trevor Jones, Randall and Randy Edelman working off each other. And the movie just overall, I think it does a lot better doing a modern epic historical drama than some of these other ones that we've looked at as of recently. Stuff like Havana and then Far and Away. Those movies didn't really work out so well, but this movie really is a very solid film overall. It's got some great. It's a great story to tell. You can buy into the romance between Lewis and Stowe. The action is very good. There's a lot of history coming out of this movie. It's a grander, more epic scale movie, and it definitely shows on screen. It really does deliver a lot of what you would expect from a movie like this. Plus, Michael Mann gives it his usual directing style, and it works very well in the end. Terrific film overall. Last of the Mohicans. Can't recommend this one enough. So, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next movie that we have here. Probably the most underrated movie that came out this weekend. Although the movie after that could also fit into that category. But this first one here, Billy Crystal's directorial effort, the dramatic comedy Mr. Saturday Night.
2 minutes! 2 minutes, English, buddy! Here he comes. Buddy? Dad, you got 1 minute. Oh, jeez. See you later.
Buddy Young Jr. In 1956, Buddy Young Jr. had everything it takes to become America's favorite funny man.
You were strong tonight. I know, I killed him, I murdered him, it wasn't even fair.
A class act.
You know, every night when you bring the fat lady up from the audience and you ram her in the ass with your head?
Yeah?
You're doing it wrong.
Now!
Perfect timing. And a family that fed him his funniest gags.
My family was like dances with Jews. Oh, he eats with his hands, spits when he talks, makes noise when he bends.
Everybody loved him.
Except this guy right over here. Look at this guy. This is what happens when cousins marry.
Your mother.
Did you like him?
I loved her.
Oh, she's cute.
Wow! I just can't imagine standing up there in front of all those strange people.
It's the best feeling in the world.
Today, he's as funny as he ever was.
You just don't lose it when you got it like that.
You still combing your hair with the Exxon Valdez? Who was that? You could do an interview in the basketball players after the game, you know, in the locker room. You go, hey, you played a great game. Really, not only that, you're a very impressive young man.
But a funny thing happened on the way to the top.
You're a legend. You're a giant. You're the comics comic.
Good, because he's dead.
Buddy Young Jr. got stuck in the middle.
All right? You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. Better work here. We'll lose the show. We're losing the show now. We're dying here.
Sometimes it takes a lifetime to be an overnight success. Billy Crystal is.
I sure don't like the sound of them drums.
Well, he's not their regular drummer.
So Mr. Saturday Night was Billy Crystal's first directorial effort. It was also kind of his chance to show everybody that he can play a more dramatic role. This is a performance where he plays a comedian, but he's also dealing with a lot of dramatic elements into this character's life. And overall, it's a very good movie. It's maybe one of the most underrated movies that Billy Crystal has ever been in. He really is fantastic in this movie. And he also shows that he's got a good ability to work behind the camera. He does a very good job with the directing on this. The writing overall is very good. It's him and the writers of City Slickers, Babalu Mandel, and Lowell Gaines, who also wrote A League of Their Own. And it's got a great cast overall. David Paymer in particular in here is fantastic. He got an Academy Award nomination for this role that he's in. You also have Julie Warner from Doc Hollywood and later on in Tommy Boy. Helen Hunt, who was just coming into her own on Mad About You at the time. Jerry Orbach from Law & Order. Ron Silver's in this. You also get cameos from classic comedians Jerry Lewis, Carl Ballantine, Slappy White, Jackie Gale. And it's just a fun movie overall. It's a well-made film, visually pleasing, both very funny and very dramatic. Nothing ever feels like it's being forced onto you. It's a great movie overall. It's one that I don't think a lot of people really talk about, but it's really one of the best movies I think Billy Crystal has ever made. It's a great movie overall. Both very funny, very sweet, and an overall enjoyable movie. I'd say if you haven't seen Mr. Saturday Night, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. Please go see this movie. You will not be disappointed by it. So, with that said, on to the next movie that we have here, and that is John Landis's Innocent Blood.
Hey, what are you, some kind of a freak?
Now, this guy's lost a lot of blood.
You know, he had his head blown off.
No, this guy's really lost a lot of blood.
Marie had a hunger to feed on the evil.
You want a ride? We got one.
Michelle's a gangster.
Call me Sal.
Who's out to take over the city.
I call you.
Sorry.
What is Marie?
What he didn't count on was a vampire.
Come on, baby. Relax.
With a taste for Italian. Now, the undead. And the undercover.
You are under arrest.
are teaming up.
Michelli's not dead, is he?
Gotta get hold of yourself to take the bite out of crime.
You're gonna be made men. But when you're made by me, nobody can touch you. Welcome to the family.
From John Landis, the director of An American Werewolf in London.
You lost a lot of blood. Are you sure you don't need more?
Don't worry, I'm not my type.
Innocent Blood, a movie that goes straight for the jugular.
So this is John Landis' second horror directorial outing after he did An American Werewolf in London over 10 years ago. I guess maybe you could count this as his third if you want to throw in Michael Jackson's Thriller in there. But this is the one that doesn't really get the praise that stuff like An American Werewolf in London and Thriller do. But you know what? Honestly, when I saw this movie for the first time a few years ago, I actually did kind of enjoy it. Like, I don't know. Maybe maybe it's because of the fact that it's shot in Pittsburgh, which is, of course, close to where I live, around that area, about half hour away. But overall, I thought the concept overall was actually really good. This idea that you have this beautiful French vampire who finds herself pitted up against these mobsters, and the leader of them is played by Robert Loggia, who becomes a vampire and decides to create his own criminal syndicate of vampires. It's such a cool concept, and this actress, Anne Perlude, I think I'm saying that name right, she was also in La Femme Nikita, and that's why that John Landis casted her in this, because she, as Landis said, she had to be a beautiful and sexy, very sympathetic woman, and Anne had been a ballerina, so she had that amazing physicality to it. And one of the things that was really concerning about this was that preview audiences had trouble understanding her French accent, but he didn't want to dub over her, and I thought that was the right way to go. And he describes this movie kind of as a Hammer film, as if it was directed by Martin Scorsese, which you could definitely see when you look at this movie overall. I thought it was a ton of fun. Like, I really enjoyed this movie a whole lot. You got Perilode. I think I'm pronouncing this name right. Give me one sec. And Perlude. I think that's how it's pronounced. I'm not sure. Again, I'm not entirely sure, but you have her in here. She's playing a very solid role in here. Robert Loggia's having a ton of fun with this role as the bad guy, the lead gangster in here, the lead crime boss, I should say. You got Anthony LaPaglia in here, Don Rickles, Chaz Palminteri, Tony Sirico, Leanna Quigley's in this. Frank Oz also has a cameo. Angela Bassett's in this. Tom Savini, Sam Raimi. It's a fun movie overall. I really enjoyed this movie. I think a lot more than a lot of people did. It's certainly not a classic movie like American Werewolf in London is, or something like Michael Jackson's Thriller, or even some of the best works by John Landis, but I don't think it's a terrible movie, honestly. It's a movie that really surprised me. Like, it was a movie that I really didn't go in there with a whole lot of excitement for, but I honestly came out of it really enjoying it a lot more. I like the visuals to it. I like the design that this character has when she turns into a vampire, which is kind of silly, but also kind of fun to watch at the same time. You can definitely tell that it's practical effects. It's not anything crazy with it, but it's a fun movie. It's a movie that I think should deserve a lot more attention. I don't think you should go in there expecting another American Werewolf in London, but go into this movie with the right mentality to it, and you go in and a little bit of an open mind, and you might actually find a lot more to enjoy about this movie than most people would give it credit for. I really enjoyed this movie a whole lot. It was a pleasant surprise for me. It was one that I was not expecting to really like as much as I did, but I had a ton of fun with it. And since we're doing this when Halloween is coming up, if you're looking for an underrated Halloween gem, definitely check out Innocent Blood. I think you will not be disappointed with it if you go into it with the right notes. So that's Innocent Blood. Let's go ahead and move on to the last movie that we have here, and that is Danzon. Yeah, Danzon.
I am always asking myself questions about what it is to be a woman.
I haven't seen this one, so I can't really talk about the movie itself, but I'll give you a rundown of the plot here. You follow this woman, a switchboard operator in Mexico City, who lives for her job, her daughter, and danzon. She's a strict and expert danzon dancer, and in the last 6 years, she's danced with this guy named Carmelo, a tall and silent man, in the saloon Colonia every Wednesday. However, they barely speak to each other on the dance floor. When one night the guy disappears without a trace, she realizes how important he became in her life, and decides to take a train to Veracruz to find out where he is. And the trip ends up changing her life when he meets his brother. When she meets his brother, and it becomes a journey of self-discovery. So, like I said, I haven't seen this movie. I can't really talk about it too much, but it looks visually pleasing. It looks like a really solid movie, and this actress does look like she fits the part pretty well. So, like I said, I haven't seen it, but it definitely looks like a decent film. Maybe I'll check it out one day, but it's not something that's quickly on my immediate watch list. So, that's all I got for you on Danzon.